572 XPG. Good old saw. Morning everyone. I just thought I'd shoot a little video here of a little bit of filing, the way I file one of my saws. This is 572 XPG Cannon bar. Love my Cannon bars. Good hard guides on them. Lasts forever, twice as long as probably any other bar that I've used anyway. This change for me is, well, one time I wouldn't even fool around with this. I'd just chuck it and put a new one on. Always got made fun of wasting chains and whatnot, and now chains are too much money just to throw away. So I found other ways of making them cut really good to the bitter end, and maybe this will help you out, maybe it won't, we'll see. So as I get back, you know, halfway back my tooth here, maybe even a little further back past half, I'll switch to a 13/64 file. And the reason I do that, because it gets down into the tooth better. It gets down into make a better hook on your tooth, into the gullet of your tooth. When the chain's new, I'll use a 7/32, an old green tip on the end. I'll use 7/32 to about halfway back, and then I switch to a 13/64. Now this saw, I had this saw with my last video. It's actually cutting pretty good, but I do want to touch it up a little bit because I got a half a quart of oversize I want to do in a couple of days' time that I can't run through my firewood processor, so I'm going to just give it a couple of rubs all the way around. Like I say, it's actually cutting pretty good anyway. And I'm going to show you something else I do with only my firewood saw. To make it tear through a stick even better. And it's not something I discovered, it's something I looked up one time. I don't know, I think it's something Oregon put out. I looked it up on YouTube. I think it was like a video on how to cut high performance, you know, high performance cutting. So I started doing this to my old chains. But as they get back further, I never ever seem to think they ever cut as good. They never seem to cut as good as a new one. That's why I always used to throw them away, or a newer one. So I tried it. We're going to show you what I do. So yeah, back down to a 13/64 file. Get down in that tooth better. Makes a better, see it here, but it does. Hard for me to do both here. But if you can see, it just makes that tooth ever a nice little hook on that tooth. Around that side. And also, I run an 18-inch bar on this saw. Mostly we run 16-inch bars. That's it. That's all we need. The longer bar I do like for doing firewood, your bigger sticks and whatever. It's only an 18. It's a little longer. But again, we don't need big long bars here. They're not. It's just not something we do here. You know, if they're even 3 feet in the stump, you can cut it easily with this bar. Yeah, so that was quick. I'm only doing a couple of rubs all the way around that one. I'll reposition my saw back the other way. I want to show you what I do with my drags. There you have it. You can see both sides. Nice little hook on there. I don't use a guide for my drags at all. I always just go by feel. Usually when you see the grooves the file makes in your drag, usually when that drag shines up again, I'll take it down a couple more rubs. That's all I do. I don't get into using the file guides or anything like that. I know when I need to take them down and when I... So your drag, I don't know how thick it is when they come out of the box. They're not very thick, but I just I take the flat file and I'll go this way on the drag, and I'll narrow it up a little bit. I'll take it a couple rubs. Now again, the saw is cutting good. I just want to show you what I do. I go around. I'm not going to go around the whole thing, but I'll take it and I'll take it a couple of rubs like that. I'll go around the other side as well and a couple of rubs. What that does for the tooth, when it's pulling into the stick with this drag narrowed up, it'll get into this side of your tooth. It narrows things up so your tooth here, which does a lot of your cutting, it makes it bite better. Plain and simple, it just makes it bite better. So that's what I do. I'll go all the way around it just with a flat file, and I'll narrow these drags up. But I only do that to my firewood saw. I'm also going to pull the bar off it, check it out, see if it needs a little bit of a file, and we'll do a little filter cleaning. This is pretty good. Must have done this fairly recent, but we'll clean it up anyway, so I don't actually need to file it up any. No edges anywhere. Nothing at the bar, tip of the bar. Usually you can see, you know, that's really good actually. So I'm not going to bother filing that. I'm just going to clean the groove out with. I'll give it a flip. When I take it off, I always flip it over on the opposite side and let the bar wear some on the opposite side. I always go from my tip down. The oil holes, nice and clean. Yeah, clean that up. I always check my sprocket, make sure it doesn't need to be changed. This saw is actually fairly new. I haven't got a lot of wood on this saw, so I believe that's the original sprocket. It's still good to go. Quite often I'll check for loose bolts. Clean the heads out good and just go around. Like these ones here, I only use the smooth bumper. We don't need dogs on our saws here. 18, 16 inch bars, you don't need them. So I'll go around to my mounts. Anything that may be, just give them a little tweak. Make sure they're good and tight. Because once they start getting loose and vibrate, they strip the threads, make the hole all aggy, and sometimes then you just sort of drill them out. And every time I take the bar off, I'll just go around and make sure that everything's tight. On the bottom of my handle, go easy on that. That's in plastic. All your spring mounts, make sure they're tight. I already did that one. Don't come right on them. A lot of it's in plastic. Just make sure they're tight. Always blow everything out, but cover your carburetor up with your hand. Just typical saw maintenance is all it is. All done, ready for the firewood pile. Now, my final little last part to this video I want to show you. It's a little bit of a, maybe it helped you guys too. We'll see. I just got this saw back from the saw shop the other day. I'm gonna go back to my first video. I was letting my saw warm up that morning as I was getting my fire going in my camp. You can listen to it sitting there idling, and you can hear a slight growl in the crankcase, almost like a whirring noise. And I said, this saw's getting old enough. I know what's going on. I took it into the saw shop. I said, crank bearings. Oh, they looked at it and they said, Apparently the mechanic, he looked at it, said, look, he said, I think I'm wasting my time taking the saw apart, put new crank bearings in it. Saw shop owner said, look, this guy's run saws a long time. I think you should pull them apart. And this is what he found. They're having troubles with these saws, but they're treating us well with them. They're looking after everybody on these. One bearing was really good. You can see this or not, and you hear it. You can't even hear a thing. It's a very good bearing. Very good. Nothing wrong with it. The other side, look. Listen. Listen how rough that is. It's all together still. Retainer is holding the balls in place. Quite often the retainer will go. It's kind of like a Teflon. Actually, this one might be steel. They used to be Teflon. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, it didn't explode and it didn't go up through my piston cylinder and didn't ruin the saw. It cost me about $400 to get new bearings in it, but I didn't have to go buy a new saw. If that bearing failed, it probably would have went up through the piston cylinder and scuffed that, and I would have been spending $1,300 on a new saw versus $400. But I just saved myself from buying a new saw. Just something for you to listen to. You could hear it when it was idling. You could hear it in the saw when it was idling. So, yeah, that's it. Like and subscribe. Say goodbye, dogs. Goodbye, Millie and Porter. Bye-bye.